Check one, two.
Absolutely love
Hey.
it, man. Absolutely love it. How you doing?
Can you guys hear me or no?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
You can?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, great, man. Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate the invite. And, God bless Triv. God rest his soul. He was such a patriot and just an awesome guy, man. I miss that dude.
Yeah, we haven't talked to you in quite some time. I know
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. Been a while, but it's good to be back on with you.
It is. It's very cool to have you on, man. A lot of people are actually texting already, saying, it brings chills and memories.
Absolutely. Yeah, both. I mean, I've always said that the Star Spangled Banner or the national anthem sung right and performed right is already goosebumps in a box. It's just an amazing song. It's one of the ones that, again, when it's done right, it can really set you off.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like when we actually had you on for the very first time. Of course, Dave Bray was on with Madison Rising back, and I mean you were on with Triv years ago.
Yeah,
and he just loved it. He loved the sound of it. And when you got on and said, "Hey, the national anthem is a song of defiance," Triv got so excited about that and the new meaning that it meant for him. It was very cool, and I never forgot that. And every time he asked me to play it, it was an honor to play it. It was just awesome. So
yeah, this is a song of defiance. I can hear him still saying it now, and how true that is. But it's also it also is a song to unify, and I think that we're forgetting a lot of that these days, and it seems like it's just a bifurcation of people. It was like, okay, what's the general populace consumed of? And if you go from a political standpoint, it's it's half Republican, half Democrat, and then you go breaking each one of those things down. Then you got the left wing, the right wing of each side. You got the radical of each side, and then as now we have social media, which continues to bifurcate people into little separate pockets of people till you're actually just down to self. And it really has pulled a lot of what I think is the necessary binding out of what a civil society needs, and I feel I see it as a deterioration. And the final deterioration of any society is war, whether it's a civil war or war from the outside or from the inside. And I think those of us, sadly, I do believe that those of us who have kids, me included, are gonna, our kids are gonna be the ones who have to fight that war one way or another, be it digital or physical or mental or emotional or however it's gonna be fought. It's coming.
And you're a vet, man. So I mean, thank you for your service, but two, I mean,
Sure.
It's got to be frustrating a little bit to see the direction this country is going. And again, I'm not going to pick sides. But it just seems like it's going kind of out of control.
Well, it really is. And again, it's being fed. The machine is being fed between media, pop culture, movies, everything. Movies, television shows, media, anything that's coming through on the main screen that we get in our TVs at our homes, and then now through the little screens, obviously. But it's all being fed. The machine is the snake eating its own tail, and it's all by what I say is design. Is for what feels good, what rubs the individual's belly, and what is going to get the most clicks and likes. And that is a sad place for us to be in as human beings, because if we're not genuinely counting on our neighbor, supporting our neighbor, and loving our neighbor, no matter race, color, creed, identity, it all of it's for naught, man. We fail as a civilization. That's what scares me the most.
Yeah, I mean, having a kid myself, I see some of the things that kids are being taught, stuff that the younger generation believes, and certainly nothing that I was raised with. And it's a scary time. I'm afraid, but I think that we need more people like you out there with the music and everything else, setting the record straight.
Well, I'm doing my best. Yeah.
I got to tell you something, Dave. Hi, my name's Michael.
Mike.
Not had the opportunity to meet in person.
Yeah.
I've listened to the show and heard the version of the song. Defiance is the right word. I mean, I get goosebumps too. But I got to tell you, you perform it. And this is one of the things that gives me hope. You've sung that song all four corners of this country, and it has the exact same result, does it not?
Absolutely. There's still a large populace that understands that despite some of the colors we may wear on our sleeve or the ideas that we may have, there's still like I call them the adults in the room that realize,
thank you,
we'd better stand up for something, because
What's
we're too busy.
edifying is that they are the same. That we are. If the more you travel, the more you realize we're more alike than we are different. No matter what the screens that you were describing tell us otherwise,
Sure.
it's not true. So we got to get back to the truth. That's all.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And to sort of just further go down that rabbit hole, it seems like there's a certain censorship that is out there right now, that is not allowing a freedom and an open conversation and dialogue for either side to be heard. And I think that in lies a genuine frustration that is painting a certain lens for us to see each other through, that is really bringing what I consider to be the major problem here. And it's all predisposed in to say that if I'm going to sit down and watch a television show and I have to pause it before somebody says something for my kids, I have to set certain boundaries in my own home,
right,
because of what's coming or what I deem is acceptable.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work the same way. Nobody else has to put a boundary around their level of acceptance or what they consider to be right or wrong. It's just, hey, you have to accept everything other than what's coming from over there. And that's not what we do in our house. We say, hey, listen, this is a perspective. A lot of people do see it this way.
Right.
This is not what we believe in here in this house. But, as you go out and live your best Rumspringa here in a few years, you can make up your own opinions and see where it goes. But again, it definitely feels like a war for the minds of our children. And that is something that I've been, preaching about since the beginning, on my first album called Dave Bray USA Music on a Mission. And even into my second album, Too Far Gone. So these are storyteller albums. You can get them at davebrayusa.com. For anybody who purchases anything from the store, you get a free autographed CD from me as a way of saying thank you.
That's awesome. I want to get into more of what you're doing now, but we do have a couple of questions from people that are
Sure.
listening. Do you feel that kneeling is disrespectful or furthering the defiance the song is meant to mean?
So, okay, my family and I are not really sports junkies, but we like sports television, and we sort of were confused at that. And again, to be in the minds of the people who are taking the knee as their last resort, do I think it was the last resort or the right way to approach it? I don't feel like it was the last resort. So I don't feel as though it was the right way to approach it. Did they use a platform of reverence to show what I believe was irreverence? I think so. But at the same time, we're leaving no other choices for these moments, for these grievances to be addressed. I mean, and that's for both sides. That's for numerous things. The attacks that we feel as, citizens of this country, for those of us who are Second Amendment people, the attacks that we feel, we have no way to address those grievances in public. So it's like, how do we address these grievances in a way that feel like they're being heard? Because no one in Washington is listening, I feel, to either side.
Yeah, I totally agree. One of my favorite songs that you have out right now, Last Call. And the police are being victimized more now than ever.
Sure.
It's sad. It's scary again, with people wanting to make the police the bad guys. But that song is amazing.
Thanks. And I'm a huge believer, again, that I support our law enforcement for the job they do every single day. As a military guy, we consider our law enforcement basically cousins or akin to us. Their deployment usually starts the day they leave their academy and is the day they turn in their badge and their service pistol. It's a long deployment. It's a hard deployment. And to go in the face of the people on a day-to-day basis, the people that you're supposedly out there to serve and protect, and then to feel ridiculed, judged, and used as a pawn by both legislation and the citizenry, I think is a spit in the face of that occupation. And again, it's very interesting to watch how defund the police started to unravel. But there was no legislation moved to remove power from the badge. It was only to remove money from the badge. And legislation made no moves to correct how and what laws were being upheld. They only went to chop off the head of the snake by saying, oh, we're just not paying you. We're not going to give you any money. And that was the answer to that issue. And again, grievances not being heard properly, and we, the people, not being able to govern ourselves. Is what it comes down to, and this is a fight that I've been in for years. Of government needs to step away from the people. Instead, it's another layer of being blanketed by things that are inevitably eradicating our Constitution, nibbling away at its core, and destroying us as free people as a whole and in our separate groups.
Wow, well said.
Totally agree with that. So, to the fun stuff, what are you up to now? Are you touring? What's going on? What's going on with you?
So we just released a new tune. It's called One Last Chance. I could get into the story behind that song. A friend of mine had passed away of cancer in January, and she was a shining star of a human being. She wasn't just a patriot. She gave to so many organizations. She was a household name in throughout the country, just of being such a benevolent soul to so many. And it was one of those things that sort of snuck up on us, even though it was 3 years in the making. And her last name was Chance. Her first name was Kathy, and she was the youngest of 6 kids. And she was always so good to us, and so many orgs again that had supported us, or she would sponsor us to help us with travel and things like that. And she was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, and 3 years later she was gone, and it felt like a blink. I was with her numerous times. I got to spend a lot of time on the phone and just talking with her and her concerns about the future of America, and how obvious it was that the greatest generation was finally passing away, and how this sort of new woke America was beginning to bloom and blossom at the same time as we were losing our some of the strongest and most stalwart men and women of our generation. And we would make that comparison many times. But long story short is, I wanted to write her a song, give her something she knew was hers, something that she knew that, even though she would be gone, that she would be remembered. I think is a big fear for a lot of us. And, if remembrance is the currency of the afterlife, she'll be remembered forever. And that's what that song Last Chance is about. It's about her and, being able to get a few more moments out of the day.
Wow.
That's amazing, man. So I saw that how many people have you performed with? I mean, you've performed with a lot of people, Aerosmith, and done stuff for NASCAR, all kind of different things.
Sure. It's been an interesting career. I've been sort of chipping away my own path, my own route. I was with a record label, obviously with Madison Rising for 5 years, toured, grinded through the country a few times, and it just wasn't for me and my family. We came to differences in long-term beliefs and the approach to the business, and numerous other things. Long story short is parted ways, and decided that I could do it better myself. It's what I've been telling my dad, and everybody that's ever known me is like, Dave, you've always just made your own way, whether it be in the military, you found yourself your own niche, with Sniper Platoon as being a corpsman, and working with the Marine Corps instead of just going in the Navy. And then, even in some of my first jobs where I was in logistics, or where I was building tanks for BAE Systems, and, during the war effort in Afghanistan and that kind of thing, I was building tanks. And, I found myself working in a union shop, and there was a huge gap in efficiency of parts. And I created a way to get parts to the line faster so that they could turn over vehicles faster. I was on a job for logistics, and I was working at dock, and I helped innovate a way to get a certain freight that was coming in at a certain time and just killing us every single day, all organized. And I worked with that area to try to get them squared away. And like I said, it's just, I always try to look at things from a standpoint of what's going to be best for the long term, what's going to be best for me and my family. And I try to balance those two things somewhere in between a crazy amount of work ethic and enough time to spend and take a breath be with my loved ones. And again, that groove in the music industry is very similar. I'm not out there trying to play every club that I possibly can. I've done that. I'm a little bit more choosier of to whom I want to play for. Again, I want to make sure that the people that I believe deserve to hear my message get it. I'd love for everyone to hear it. I just don't know 100% if everyone will quite understand how I've put faith and patriotism together as a whole package and bring it to people as a way for them to be grateful.
Now, do you think that the music industry is kind of against your message? Do you think they kind of keep you back from?
Well, I know 100% that I've been shadow banned on social media, but that's for political reasons. Because, you know, I take pictures with Trump, and I've played at his events during, you know, rallies and things that he's done during his runs and during his presidency. I know that some of our songs got removed from all platforms. And then we called and they said, well, that's just how we're doing it now. And I still scratch my head at that. And I see other people releasing the exact same material. So that was a head scratcher. All in all, though, I just think the music industry itself has been skewed to quantity rather than quality. And I think that, you know, Nashville is a great example of that. I think that they just sort of churn out song after song after song after song after song until they hit a little chunk of gold, and then they boil that thing down to its core. So music industry in general is just it's a different animal. And again, I like to believe that I've carved my own niche into it.
Yeah, see, that's kind of crap that, you know, I talk about it on the show all the time, is that, you know, we got banned on some of the social media stuff for putting up a stupid meme of Hunter Biden hanging from some balloons. And
Yeah.
you know, people put up worse crap all day long on social media, and we got banned
Sure.
for a month. And so I just think that with your message and the kind of songs you put out, whether it's political, the government, whether it's the police or whatever, that it's got to be difficult to get your message out there the way that you want to.
It is.
That's got to be frustrating. It's frustrating on a little level like we do it. It's got to be incredibly frustrating for you. So
Let me say one thing, though.
Yeah.
I'm older. The message got out before there was social media. The message needs to get out again despite social media. And the music industry is a great way to look at that, because garage bands and festivals and just the lyrics and just the songs, you know, people don't appreciate what Motown meant to the civil rights movement, because you had a whole generation of teenage white folk that said Smokey Robinson, the Platters, that it's not that bad. And it gave a place for people to meet in the middle. If, like you're doing, Dave, you write the lyrics that inspire the people, the message will get out. So that's what the musicians have to do. If it means not being a part of the system that, by the way, is incorporating AI into a lot of the songwriting things so that everything sounds the same.
Sure.
Walk away from all that and do what you're doing. The more people that do what you're doing, the more there'll be a grassroots following again, and we'll get back to the way it should be.
I agree with that to a certain extent. I also agree with the fact that there's a big music mafia out there that it's push button artists now at this point. If they can get the right artist with the right look and the right sound, those are three very simple elements. You can find a good looking chick who can sing a little bit. You don't have to be able to sing that good. A computer will fix your voice, and they'll get them with the best songwriters and the best musicians, and they'll start just pulling the press. And it's the same with, you know, young country stars. And these guys and girls, unfortunately, are super hungry at 20, 21 years old to go out there and say, yeah, absolutely, I will sign on the dotted line. I will give you everything I write. I will give you everything I perform. I'll give you royalties on all my merchandise. I will give you everything as long as you give me the fame. Right. And they can do that. They can do that overnight, and they can take an artist that's right out of the box, has a couple decent songs, throw it on a record, put it out there, and in the first day have 24 million views on a video and 250,000 streams on a video on the first day. And that it just doesn't happen like that. And it's a it's a pay for play game, and it's a music mafia game, and it's one of those things that frustrates someone like me who refuses at all costs to give not even an inch and play the game at all. And people are like, man, your Spotify streams are really low. I was like, I didn't even know I had a Spotify. Honestly, I had no clue. And, I've got videos that have been seen and watched millions of times. I've got all kinds of streams that are online and in social media and TikTok and all that crap. But long story short is if the window for me is going to open, it's going to be open by the hands of God. It's not going to be open by some record executive. And it may not even be while I'm here. But what I love about music is that it is in perpetuity. It's a stamp that I can leave on these stupid computers that I feel have destroyed us. It's a stamp that I can leave in there somewhere for somebody to find. And in the future, if somebody opens up a Dave Bray USA song, one thing I can guarantee you is that they're going to find the patriotism, they're going to find the faith, and they're going to find that little inkling of gratitude. And I don't know if that virtue will still be around by the time I'm gone, or respect. I don't know if those major core virtues are going to be there after I'm long gone. But when they do, if they decide to find a Dave Bray USA song, they're going to hear it.
We've got a couple of messages I want to put up here for you because we got a lot of reaction to you coming on. Joe Burdick, I don't know if you know Joe, don't you?
Yeah, I know that name.
He says, "Yo, Dave,
what's up?"
Know a zillion rock stars, and Dave is way too sane to be grouped into that collection of characters.
I don't know about sane.
Gunner says, "Thank you for your service."
Thank you, Semper Fi. Appreciate you, Gunner.
People will sell their soul for 15 minutes of fame.
That's true.
Yeah, 5 minutes now.
Yeah, I mean, the whole soul for 15 is I think their timeline's a little off.
Hell, I would do it at this point. Scott says, "Are you on Twitter? I volunteer with Concerned Veterans of America and would love to connect with you."
Yes, I'm on Twitter. Dave. Everything on social media is Dave Bray USA, and I am on Twitter.
All right. So, how do people get your albums and everything?
Yeah. So all of my merchandise, anything is support merchandise. Again, I print every single T-shirt. I literally bought a print shop and moved it into my garage. My cars no longer have a nice warm place to sleep. They get pushed out. And I bought like a dryer and a printer. And I do like I said, I print every shirt by myself. So you're getting a piece of my soul into that. I actually pray over each shirt I pull. It's a long, arduous process and it's tedious. But I pray over it, and you're getting a prayer inside of a shirt. You get a free autographed CD with any T-shirt you purchase, and you'll get either, there it is, Music on a Mission, which is a storyteller record, nice, or my new album, Too Far Gone, which are both storyteller albums, and DaveBrayUSA.com, DaveBrayUSA.com, and there's all kinds of really great merch on there, guys. I just want to say I appreciate any kind of traffic we can get. It goes right into the fuel tank to push this mission of patriotism and faith down the road, and the Music on a Mission continues because of you guys.
And I just want to say one thing real quick. You talked about the good-looking chicks getting, the record deals and all that kind of stuff. I told a woman yesterday that you were going to be on, and I showed a picture of you. There's one that I was sent, and it's got you, with your curly hair flowing, the glasses on, and you're looking all buff and stuff. And she goes, "Well, I'm going to listen now." So it had nothing to do with, she didn't know any of your music, never heard the Trib Show.
I feel like I need to buff. Hold on a second, young lady. Let me get squared away for you. I wasn't ready. I didn't. Hold on. Is that better?
See?
I came home this afternoon, and my girlfriend said, "Dave Bray's on tonight," and she went and said, "Watch this," and on and on and on, because my girlfriend did the exact same thing. But Let me ask you a question, because I'm feeling something.
I don't know.
The Lord works in mysterious ways. Can you stay with us for a minute or two, Dave?
Sure.
Hurry?
No, I'm good. Everybody's squared away at the house, so we're all set here.
I ask you, do we have any housekeeping to do and come back? Because I want to plant a seed with the three of us. And
all right. I mean, can you hang on for a quick break?
I'm sure I'm good.
All right, hang on. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's
Seth for Smoking Rock and Roll Food Trucks. You got to check them out, man. The food is just unbelievable. Mac and cheese is fantastic. The brisket, everything else is just to die for. You got to check out Smoking Rock and Roll. 605 Clague Parkway in Bay Village. You can give them a call, 216-539-2239 to book a food truck. Find out where they're going to be at. They're going to be all over the place, especially when the spring and summer hits. It's unbelievable food. They win awards all over the place. Run by my good friend Billy Morris and his friend Todd. They're good people, and they make great food. You got to check it out. Smoking Rock and Roll, SmokingRockandRoll.com.
Aaron Tees and Signs has become your complete one-stop sign shop. Call Jimmy at 216-299-9344. Their friendly and professional staff can and will help you build your company brand and identity from start to finish. One stop means you get a complete package from one location. Custom logo design, vehicle graphics, banners, t-shirts, storefront marquees, and so much more. Aaron Tees and Signs, 4883 Turney Road. Call us at 216-299-9344.
Hey, it's Seth for Audio Bay Studios in Bay Village. And now if you need a podcast done, you got a band, you got to record some stuff, Audio Bay Studios is the place to go. Trained technicians, good management there. I'm telling you, Audio Bay Studios has helped me out tremendously with my podcast. You want to go there, Audio Bay Studios, 605 Clegg Parkway in Bay Village. It's right next to, or in the same building, I should say, as Smokin' Rock and Roll. Some of the best barbecue food trucks in town. The best barbecue food trucks in town. I'm telling you, you got to check out Audio Bay Studios. I know the guy, Chris Aiken. I know the guy, Billy Morris. They're good people. They take care of you. Audio Bay Studios. If you got a podcast that you want to start recording, Audio Bay Studios in Bay Village is the place to be. 605 Clegg Parkway. Give them a call. 216-713-0066. That's 216-713-0066. Right back here on the Seth Williams Show with Mike Jasaka. Dave Bray, USA.com is the website. Dave Bray, thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Mike has something up his sleeve. I have no idea what he's talking about. So
I will tell you, not being the most familiar, but carrying my own cross. I think you're the guy I want. At least something's telling me to share this with you, Dave, because you're a combination of faith and patriotism, and knowing that we're not going to do this without somebody, a greater power, without the love of God as much as the love of country.
That's how it started.
We all know about the Last Supper. What I would like to see happen in this country is put the cell phones down, walk away from the screens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and do a concept called the Next Supper.
Okay.
Because the most segregated hour in America is still Sunday mornings when we all go to our separate churches. What I'd like to do is institute a concept of breaking bread together in neighborhoods, in communities, in churches, where all we do is knock on the door, come in, sit down, and talk to each other again. And I can't reach everybody, but God knows, if you think about this and come up with a song that everybody can listen to across the whole country, or a theme, or inspire people to not be ashamed of the God they believe in and intervene to fix this, that maybe, and I've been talking to politicians about this idea, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, fine. And it goes in one ear and out the other. And I've been talking to pastors about this, and it goes in one ear and out the other, because the churches sometimes are as political as politics is.
It's getting worse now. Yep.
Yeah. But on a grassroots basis, if everybody started spending time together again around a table, that maybe that movement, instead of the Last Supper, we could start what, like I said, I refer to as the Next Supper. So I'm just telling you about that because I trust what's motivating you. Your track record of faith and patriotism speaks for itself. But if there's anybody who prays and looks and asks God, please, work through my fingers and through my lyrics, I'm sharing this with you because I think you can move the ball off square one.
I like that. I grew up in a real small town in Pennsylvania. When I say small, I'm talking like 300-400 max. Pretty much 4 farms, 4 churches, and the rest is just a couple people. And we didn't have a traffic light. We had a roundabout, so it was real small. Like when I say small, we're talking small. And I believe it was either the first or the last Friday of the month, but I want to say that it was at least once a month, or it was at least once every either planting or harvesting season, that we had what's called a Dutch supper. And it was at a fire hall, and they sell tickets to support the fire hall. And it's a big sit down where pretty much everybody in the community gets together, and they make turkey filling, mashed potatoes, ham, corn, green beans, the whole 9 yards basically. And they feed everybody at one time. They feed everybody. And then that first segment of people comes out and the next segment comes in, they feed them again. And this thing goes on from, 4:00 in the afternoon until 10:00 at night. And by the time it's all said and done, everybody has sat down and broken bread at those tables. So, it's interesting if you start thinking about, the table is as important as the bread itself almost. We have to get around, we have to find that forum, like you said. We need to find that forum. We need to find where and how and what way that's going to work. And maybe it does start in a small community and grows into something else, and it gets a platform in which it starts to broadband across the country, and it does happen all at the same time, and we can live feed that, and it becomes an entertainment thing, and then the word is passed, the gospel is given, the bread is broken, and we can start bringing communities back together. But when COVID happened, but if you want to get down into how and what's happening in America, the churches are being broken down into a shambles. COVID was like the last knife in a lot of churches' backs. It upped everybody's online presence, but it downed everybody's communal shoulder to shoulder presence. And I still think that's important. It's not where two or more are Zooming. It's where two and more are actually truly gathered.
Yeah.
And being gathered is important to the word. And I believe that when we say love our neighbor, they're not talking about, writing I love you cards. It's about standing shoulder to shoulder with, whether it's the stranger next to you or the best friend that you have. The essence of love has to be given back and forth through physical proximity. It's not something I don't believe that can be felt from a distance the way it's truly meant to be felt. So if we have love as the true element of what the gospel is and what our humans are supposed to be doing to one another and feeling from one another, if we can project love instead of projecting, hey, I'm going to put up these walls around these people, or I don't like the way these people are talking over here. If you come into things with a heart full of love instead of a heart full of animosity and neuroticism and anger and hate, it's just like the board meeting, right? So you got the guy that stands up at the board meeting and he's already pounding on the podium, and the people that are sitting on the school board are sitting there going, no, you will not, you cannot, and it just turns into a mess. And then you have a 90-year-old woman who goes up there and just says, I just want to say thank you all for what you're doing, but here's what's happening, with love in her heart, and her voice gets heard. I think there's so many things that I want to touch on in this conversation, because again, it's not just the people that we see, it's everyone, and it's truly difficult to go to a store now without feeling like you're either under attack or being confronted in some way. Yeah. So the more and more that happens out in public, the less people start to go into public, and the less people stop gathering. They continue to separate from themselves and become isolated and lonely, and the fear gets to build up in those situations. You can't transcend or ditch it. There's just so many things on that topic that I would love to talk about, but what I've seen is some of the greatest things that I've seen happen among people that are either angry, broken, neurotic, anxious and anxiety. Some is when they sit in a group, and when they sit and actually sit shoulder to shoulder and see each other not only as equals but as bridges to one another's pain, and then the groups of people can help carry that pain, whether it's grief or whether it's addiction or whether it's hate or whether it's whatever. But when groups of people actually truly sit together in a circle and have conversations, open, true dialogue and conversations, without being judged, and with everybody's love and acceptance in their heart, true momentum forward happens. And we're not seeing that on a political scale. We're not seeing even in our own churches nowadays. We're not seeing it happen in school. We're not seeing it happen anywhere in the communities anymore. And it's a shame, because it's a powerful thing, and it's to the root of what we are as humans.
Now, the question is, though, are we too far gone? I don't want to be a negative guy.
Are you talking about my new album called Too Far Gone?
Well, there you go.
The answer is no. You are never too far gone. And we are never beyond the hands of the Almighty. He will allow he will allow us to go as far as we allow. And when we decide to make the move, he will turn it around for us and he will get behind us. It's so crazy that free will always comes back to actually self-sustenance and doing what's right and what's good for others. And if we can stop being so selfish and self-absorbed that we can start just saying, I need to go do something for somebody else today, and find somebody and do something for them. Buy them a cup of coffee, random acts of kindness, call a friend you haven't talked to in a while and sit and have a genuine conversation with somebody. Those are the things that mean the world to me when I'm in a crappy place. Somebody picks up the phone and is like, dude, where you been, man? What's going on? I'm like, no, you really got time? Do you have 40 minutes to have a real conversation? Because I'll isolate and give you that 40 minutes if you will help me carry the load. And a lot of us call our friends or text our friends, hey, what's up? Not much. Do you? Yeah, you good? No, conversation over. But again, to have a genuine conversation and a back and forth with people, it's so valuable. It's so valuable to what's good in America and what's good for our people.
Well, like I said, that's my gift. God told me you
I
were
love
the
that.
person I could trust with that, and I truly hope you think about it and maybe become the minstrel in that gallery.
I love that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I always take those seeds and to heart, and I love that it brought me to the table, because that's what I feel God's calling me to write about. Like, we look at we have a kitchen table that looks like it's been through a wood chipper, but so many drawings that our kids did are on that table, spilled drinks and thrown Easter straw baskets, and you name it has happened on that table. You can even see where the kids have drawn and written on it. It's beat. It squeaks. It's a mess, but I've replaced the chairs, but I can't bring myself to replace that table. Yeah, you can cover it up, but all the little things that happen around that table are so important to us. The games that we've played, the conversations we've had, the tears that we've shed, and I cannot bring myself to get rid of that old beat up kitchen table.
Faith without works has no reward.
Amen.
All right, so tell everybody where you can get your albums again. Then I got to let you go, only because, look, here, you put the glasses on, you step back, you put the hair down, and my wife texted in with this, just a thumbs up. So at this point, I'm going to have to go downstairs and divorce her. And
yeah, you'll be all right.
All right. So where does everybody get the albums again?
So everything is at DaveBrayUSA.com. You can follow me. You want to check out the new videos, go to Dave Bray USA on YouTube. We just released our new song called Last Chance, obviously for Kathy. Follow us on socials, Dave Bray USA on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, True Social. You name it, we're out there on Dave Bray USA. And it's my wife and I. We're our own record label. We do all our own support. So any support you gives us comes directly to us and allows us to continue our mission with music and patriotism and faith.
Well, that's awesome, man. And
thanks.
I appreciate you coming on tonight. I know that Triv is watching down and thrilled that you were on this show tonight. And
Song of Defiance.
Absolutely. So thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on. God bless. Take care.
You too. We'll talk to you. Thank you, man. DaveBrayUSA.com. Dave Bray, awesome dude, man.
Yeah.
I want to play the song again. I got to get it queued up if you don't mind. Dude.
Go right ahead, man.
I'm going to try to do this. Hey, again, because I love it, and Triv loved it, and it was cool.
Well, I found him to be inspiring based on what I've just said. So
it brings back a lot of memories for me, and I know for a lot of people listening. So, I want to play it again. There we go.
Can you see by the totally light what so badly we hate at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broken stripes in bright stars another friend.